All right, we're live on Facebook, Crossing the Crescent, Radio Free Kafiristan, and we're live on YouTube. And yes, I did set the YouTube parameters correctly this time. I'm getting better at that. I have to get myself credit.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. Hello, this is Eric, and we are again on another edition of the Crossing the Crescent discussion group here on Facebook and on the YouTube channel, which we stream from StreamYard. And we are also live here on the Global Patriot Radio Network with the real, we call the show here, the Real Interfaith Dialogue. Uh-oh, looks like we lost somebody. Okay, after you leave, I wasn't here last week. I had to make a trip to Kafiristan West to go visit the Papa Kafir, and we had a good visit. But I was listening as we were out there, and it's just not the same listening when you can actually participate in this and have these discussions. So this is just a lot of fun. If you ever get a chance to come in here, if you want to come on the show, send me an email at ericthecafer@gmail.com or post it in chat. And I'll try to get you the StreamYard link to bring you up and on. We were going to start off with discussing the deity of Christ today, but somebody had himself a little debate yesterday, and we wanted to discuss that first. And so what we're going to do is we're going to turn the show over today to Chris Claus, and he's going to talk about a debate that he had with Mujtaba. Okay, Chris, you're going to have to introduce
Muji. Let's call him Muji.
Yeah, his name's Muji.
All right, we're going to call him the Muji, the Taj Muji Hall, or whatever you want. But this was a train wreck, in a good way for Chris. So he's going to discuss what happened yesterday, and I'm going to go ahead and share my. Well, Chris, you go ahead and just go ahead and take charge. Mike is yours.
Yeah. So what happened? And first off, all you Muslims out there that are watching, it was not my fault. I did not go searching for this Muslim to debate him. With that being said, they actually contacted me and asked me to debate. So I didn't know how much knowledge this Muslim actually had. So he wasn't a very knowledgeable Muslim, and I made him look very bad in the debate. Bad enough that there was a few Muslims after the debate that were saying, yeah, you won, but you picked somebody like this and everything else. So I just want to get that out front. I didn't pick the debate. It was asked. So, Eric, if you want to go ahead and just play the first part of it there, and we'll just hear what happened.
All right, here we go. Let me mute myself while I... All right, we don't have any sound because Mr. Amateur here did not click the right button. Let me try this again. Okay, share audio. There we go. And okay. Got it. Let me push play.
Here, Muji.
Yes.
I'm not disagreeing with anything that you just said.
Okay.
I don't like children being bombed. I don't like wars. I don't like people dying.
Okay.
But this has nothing to do with Islam.
Okay.
You can no, just let me finish here, Muji.
Yes, please.
I could say the same thing about Judaism. I could say the same thing about Christianity,
Okay.
and as you're saying about Islam. So just because you and I both, and of course Kenny doesn't agree with any of that either. He's against bombings. He's against the wars. Like us as theists, we believe in love,
Yes.
right? And we don't believe in war. So I totally agree with you there. But I used to be an atheist as well.
Okay.
I come from the same background as you.
Yes.
But I found Christianity to be true because of Christ himself, right? Because I believe that Jesus is God incarnate. He did die on the cross and he did rise on the third day. And I believe that there's ample evidence for that. So that's why I'm a Christian. So I believe that there's evidence out there for the justification of me saying that I'm Christian and why I accept Christianity. What I'm wondering from you, and politically, if you want to have a political debate, I have no problem with that as well. I just prefer not to do it here because we're into a religious discussion first. But what evidences other than just political makes you believe that Islam is true where Christianity and Judaism isn't quite as true as what Islam is?
Brother, first of all, I have to tell you that Islam has this solution to all our problems, and every single problem is political issue. Okay, the price of the bread you eat is political issue. All right, so so if Islam is going to solve, or Christianity solve any problems, then it has to involve itself in politics as well. All right, so I gave you the what is it? The fact that why in Islam is the true answer to all those problems. I said that we stand every day. If it is
okay, I wanted to ask something about this. Okay, so he's saying that Islam has to insert itself into politics, and he was serious about this, Chris.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
because he actually said that if a political party could bring peace to an area, he would accept that political party over God. So yes, he's very serious about this.
I wanted to make the point. I was just typing something in the chat for you, Chris, for you to respond to on the same point that Eric stopped it on, that Islam cannot be separated from politics. It can't. I know some of them try to do it, but in Islam, there is no separation between religion and politics. In Christianity, we have Jesus saying specifically, give to Caesar what is Caesar and what belongs to God to God. Jesus separates the two. But in Islam, there is no such separation. Muhammad never recognized or taught any separation between the two. So I think this is a key point here.
Well, if you want to see an example of how Islamic law is applied, and when you start talking about the combination of both politics and religion, you can. I mean, you don't have to go any further than ISIS-controlled Iraq. You don't have to go any farther than the Taliban controlled in Afghanistan, and I'm sure that John can tell you just as well as Adam in Pakistan and in Egypt. When they combine religion and politics, you get nothing but a disaster. And for this guy to sit there and say, I mean, Islam is the cure to, and I believe he started talking about alcohol. Am I right on that, Chris? He goes on to say, well, we can't drink alcohol. We tried that in this country. Yeah. It was called the 18th Amendment. And we had to pass, guess what? The 21st Amendment to do away with the 18th Amendment called prohibition. So when you start, and I believe the government should be moral. And if you elect immoral leaders, that's exactly what you're going to get. But when you start imposing religious convictions onto the masses, for an example, and you can make an argument that the Bible, bans alcohol, or you can make an argument that, okay, this is what, Jesus turned water into wine. You can make all those arguments. But when you start talking about, the codification of religion into law, that is nothing but a dangerous recipe. And this guy is obviously not a student of history, or he wouldn't have made that. He wouldn't have made that comment.
No, and the whole part here is, I know that Islam is very political, but the thing is that within the debate, and you'll see Kenny say it a bunch of times, just saying that Islam is the truth isn't an actual argument. It's just a statement. And statements need to be backed up with some type of evidence or facts for that statement. And that's what he lacks in the whole debate. The only thing that we hear, and you guys will hear it later on, is that we stand together and we face Mecca and Hajj. And, like, he thinks that is what makes Islam true and creates world peace. But then, yeah, I'll stop because we get into apostasy and things to that nature.
Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and share back here. Oh, here's Esau. Let me bring him. Okay.
is in Christianity, in Judaism as well, which is not. We stand towards Mecca, okay, every day and say, show me the right way, all right? So the wrong way, I told you what is the wrong way. The wrong way is this jungle, with the jungle rules, that the strongest get the most, the weakest get the least, okay? This jungle has to get, we have to get rid of these jungle rules. Let me explain this one fast, please, and then.
As of right now, we've been here for about 33 minutes, Muji. And as of right now, not give one reason why Islam is true and Christianity and Judaism is not. Because everything that you've just about the world, about Christianity and Judaism, right?
Yeah, Chris, thank you. Let me just intervene just quickly. Brother Muji, I think what he's looking for is on any of these given points that you've addressed, what is the Islam answer for these issues? So, it's one thing to say that Islam has the answer for these issues, but on these, on any of these given points, what does Islam actually say about these points that you're bringing up? I mean, we all know that the issues exist, but what does Islam have to say versus what Christianity has to say, by example?
Brother.
Brother Muji, so
can you stick up in there, please? Can we pause it there a bit? I wanted to ask a few questions. A couple questions.
Go ahead.
Couple questions, Chris. How did you get back in touch with Kenny? I should have asked that earlier. That's one. Two, is this guy Muji, is he a Sunni Muslim or he's Shiite? He said he's from Iran. Right. So, and the third thing is that I found it in, and I'd like you to comment on this, that Kenny was essentially jumping in to rescue this guy. And this is where Kenny starts.
You notice that too?
Well,
Yeah.
I'll start answering, but I'll answer your last one first. Yes, if you actually see the full debate, Kenny jumps in about I think 8 times throughout the debate to try to explain some of the things that I'm saying. And I didn't debate Kenny because I didn't want to turn it into a me versus Kenny debate. So I didn't even respond to what Kenny said. And when I uploaded on my channel, I'm going to take out Kenny's parts in the refutation because a moderator shouldn't be interjecting himself into the arguments being presented. So how did I get in touch with Kenny again? There was a good brother in Christ that brokered a peace deal. His name was Sam Shimon. Sam Shimon had contacted us and asked certain favors and to try to look past the past of Kenny Bomber and us, Eric Bomer and us, and I said no problem. So I deleted all the old videos that I had of Kenny on my YouTube. I told him out of good faith that I would do that. The boycott of our show got lifted on the same day. There was some promises made on both sides, and both sides have owned up to their part of the agreement. So since then, and about this Muji guy. So Muji actually contacted Kenny and said that he was a Muslim. I honestly don't know if he's Shia or Sunni. I honestly believe that he's Shia. But he quotes some Bukhari hadiths later on, so it's a little weird. But he does say that Bukhari and Muslim are fabricated. So, which makes me believe that he's a Shia at that point, right? So I don't truly know that way, but he actually contacted Kenny and said that he wanted to debate a Christian on why Islam. So Kenny contacted me, knowing that I don't mind debating people. It got set up, and that's how this all started.
Didn't he say that he wasn't a Quran only Muslim though?
Yeah, because I bring up a point in the debate. I bring up certain hadiths, and I think I have the clip here where I said I quote the hadith and then I quote the verse, and it doesn't contradict. So he actually affirms certain hadith that don't contradict the Quran. Just he couldn't give me a verse where it actually contradicted the Quran.
Okay.
But is that a requirement for the hadith to be accepted? I never heard of that before.
No, it's a new requirement of the 20th century, right? It's that new standard that these sheikhs that like to use Sheikh Google for that. That's the new criteria that they implement.
All right, let's go ahead and play some more of this hot mess.
Equality. Is those dress of Ahram, brother? Do you have it in Christianity and Judaism? I will accept it.
Muji.
You don't have it, brother.
Yes, we do.
Dress of Ahram. Dress of Ahram.
Muji,
Yeah.
we do have equality in Christianity. Hey, Eric, do you want to pause the video? Because I don't think you shared the screen. I don't see the video on the screen. There we go. Muji, we do have equality in Christianity and in Judaism.
Okay.
Now, you stated something about the devil's the one that makes us sin, of course, right?
Yes.
Now, I'm just going to quote for you. I believe this is Sahih Muslim 2749. The grade of the hadith is Sahih, and it says, and I'm just going to quote a little bit in here, but you can go and look up your own. It says, by him in whose hand is my soul. If you did not sin, Allah would replace you with people who would sin, and they would seek forgiveness from Allah, and He would forgive them. So Allah's basically saying is if you would not sin, He would just create other people that would sin so that they could ask for forgiveness, and He would grant them forgiveness. This is what that hadith is saying. So are you trying to say that in this hadith it's depicting Allah as shaitan then?
All right. Can I answer to you, brother? I'm a Muslim, okay, that don't believe that Bukhari and Muslim are Sahih, okay? If
you want to pause there for a second? Eric, you don't even have to bring us up because you can go right back. This is where it was, George, and this is the reason why I might have assumed that he would have been Shia by that statement that Bukhari and Muslim were not Sahih.
Right.
Can Muslims believe that?
Shia
Steve,
could,
Adam,
because they have their own.
John? Can Muslims believe that?
With the Shia, I didn't even think they recognized Bukhari and Muslim.
Yeah, no, but it would be normal for a Shia to say Bukhari and Muslim are not Sahih, though, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, for Shias, they don't believe in Sahih Bukhari or Sahih Muslim. They have their own hadith.
Okay. And am I I'm not muted. Okay, so then who are the compilers of their hadith?
Let me intervene over here. They believe in the book called Al-Kafi, which is one of the most authoritative hadith book as compared to Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. That's where you can compare it with Al-Kafi with. But the problem here is not this. This guy is a Sunni. Clearly, he's not a Shia. Yeah. The thing is that the latest and the greatest 20th century,
Adam, how do you know that he's a Sunni and not a Shia?
Because he previously did not rejected the hadiths of Bukhari, and he was accepting that. So now he's a Sunni for sure, for fact.
Okay, so Shia cannot accept anything from Bukhari or Muslim.
Yes, they will fully reject it.
I didn't know
they
that.
Will 110% reject it because the last hadith that he approved was from Abu Huraira. Shias do not actually accept any hadith narrated from Abu Huraira, full stop. There is no question asked over there. So he's definitely not a Shia. That's a fact. Now, he's from the latest and greatest 20th century Sunni Islam, where these latest and greatest Sunni Islams has to reject a lot of ahadith of Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim because it just destroys their religion. So now even certain Arabic scholars actually came up and said Sahih al-Bukhari is maskhara. This happened in 2012 for the very first time that the Arabic scholars, Al-Bayzui, I think, or something like that, actually said that Sahih Bukhari is nothing more than a maskhara. Maskhara means
joke.
Joke.
It's a joke. They're calling Bukhari a joke.
Yeah, exactly. And this once again is a Sunni.
Are these guys still alive? I mean,
he's still alive. So now the problem is that there are a lot of ahadith in Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim which actually destroy Islam inside out. And now when the Christians and the atheists, apologetics and the ex-Muslims started exposing these things, now they are coming up and they are just saying these things. Whereas it was always there and they had no problem. Now the problem is the chain of narrator, and I have said that multiple times. If you destroy one chain because of one guy in that chain, you have to destroy all the ahadith because the same guy is in that chain. They do not do that. It's a joke. They are all bunch of jokers. Thank you. That would be all.
Okay. All right. Well, so we got a better understanding of what his opinion is of Bukhari and Muslim. And Chris, okay, what was the point that you were going to make on that? Or did George make that point?
The only thing that I was pointing out there was I've actually quoted a hadith that says that Allah, if you're not going to sin, he would have destroyed you and created people that would sin just so they would ask for forgiveness and that he would forgive them. Because Muji kept saying throughout the debate that only Satan does that. So I was showing him from his own sources that if he believes that Satan is the only one that does it, then he must believe that Satan is Allah.
Well, Adam did a fine job of that a couple months ago, where he showed that Allah is Satan and Satan is Allah. Anyway, but that's a great verse to say that. And one of the other verses, Adam, and I want you to send those to me in Skype, where it says, I can't remember which verses that you quoted. I think it was in that show that you said that Allah created people specifically to sin so they would go to hell, or something on those lines. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you remember that conversation?
Where he made the jinn and the people to send them to hell?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And I have created a full document for you and the people like you.
Okay.
And it is, let me share my article on that. And it has all these verses. It's called Fate and Free Will.
Okay. So
Quran versus Bible. And I am posting it over here so that you could read that.
You're posting it where? In private chat or on the comments?
I'm sending it in private chat. You can share it in the main chat.
Okay.
So it has all these verses, my friend.
Okay. Thank you.
And it has the hadiths references of those verses as well. And it has everything. So
okay.
Enjoy.
I'll bring it up. Okay. All right, Chris, do you want me to continue playing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to watch this. Watch what I do here. Did you see that? I shared the screen. Hold on.
Good job.
Words of Allah.
Okay, Muji, have you read Surah 5:14?
Sorry?
Have you read Surah 5, ayat 14?
Yes, of course. But can you please?
Do you want me to read it for you?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
And it says, from those who say, we are Christians, we took their covenant, but they neglected a portion of what they had been commanded to uphold. So we let hostility and enmity arise between them until the day of judgment. And soon Allah will inform them of what they have done. So this verse this verse is saying that Allah has presented these people with hostility and enmity between themselves. So you keep saying that Shaitan is the only one to do this. So I went to the hadith to show that that your Allah does this. Now I've went to the Quran to show the same point. So it looks like the hadith that I quoted actually agrees with your Quran. Can you show me where in your Quran that I quoted contradicts your Quran?
I mean, this is not logic, okay?
Again, brother, on these points, the reason why Islam has
Go ahead and pause it.
these problems.
Yes, but brother.
So here.
Okay. Why is he purposely jumping in there to rescue this guy?
No, yeah, Muji actually.
Go ahead, Chris.
He kept saying that Satan was the cause of all evil. So me as a Christian, all I had to do at that point is to point out in his religion where his God actually is what he believes Satan is. So I went to his hadith and he said, I don't accept that hadith because it contradicts the Quran. I said, all right, here's your Quran verse as well. The hadith verse that I quoted actually agrees with the Quran verse that I just quoted. So it doesn't contradict the Quran. So can you show me a verse from your Quran that actually contradicts what I said from the hadith? And his answer was, it's not logical. And then he wanted to go into political things again about them standing there and all in the same dress wear and Hajj and things to this nature. So I cut that out because it was dumb, and I put Kenny in there. But that right after that, Kenny jumped in there to try to save him again, and that's when.
It's like Kenny's trying to instruct him of how to debate.
Yes.
You know, trying to give him a little helping hand.
Well,
which
you would think
exposes him.
Well, this is you know, if I hosted a debate, I've hosted a couple debates on this show a couple times, and that's like the last thing in the world that you want to do as a moderator, to show your bias, because nobody will trust you in the future to do that. So to come in
but does anyone trust Boomer? I mean,
well, obviously, I mean, he has a lot of people that go to his channel, so I'm assuming that they do.
Yeah, and the thing that I looked at, though, is if you're a moderator, and I don't know if many people have, but I know I have, and a few people in this panel have as well. When you're a moderator, it is desperately hard to not say something when you see somebody that is representing your faith get bashed badly and not able to answer for what's being said, and is making your religion look bad. It's very detrimental on that moderator, and I think that it took its toll with Kenny being like, oh, man, just answer him, give him something, and he just never did.
Well, this thing is 2 hours long, and I could about imagine sitting in that chair watching this train wreck.
And having to coach someone. I mean, if the moderator's having to coach someone, then that moderator has to be a little bit more wiser to say, well, next time, you need to know how to debate, and then I'll bring you back on, because I'm not here to coach anyone.
Yeah, you may want to vet.
That's what you needed to say, is to be honest about the situation. Is, look, you don't have the credentials or the mind right now to debate, so I'm not going to bring you on again, because I'm not going to sit here and coach you. And that's what he did.
Hey, Chris, how often did Kenny interject?
Within the hour and a half of the actual debate, I think 8 times maybe in total.
Okay, well, I guess we got to give him some credit, because he's a control freak anyway.
Yes, he is.
And George,
Well,
I tried to look forward, because I was very irritated. Because this man was taking time up from my day, and Saturday I was supposed to be celebrating it with my youngest son's birthday. So I postponed the celebration of his birthday for 2 hours so I could have this debate. And this is what I had to deal with for 2 hours. So I was very irritated that I had to put something aside for this type of debate. That's all it was.
It's understandable.
Okay, do we want to get back to your clip?
Fire it back up.
All right, here we go. Let me put the screen over here, mute myself.
Take it to another side, okay? Goes to Hadith. As I told you that you have to talk about a reliable source like Quran. Hadith is reliable, but if it doesn't contradict Quran. There are hundreds of thousands of fabricated hadiths.
Hold on, then.
Sorry, brother Chris.
No. You're saying that you reject this hadith that I quoted because it contradicts your Quran. Can you show me where it actually contradicts your Quran?
I mean, there is no verse that in Quran that says that Allah.
So it doesn't contradict it then.
I will. I mean, it can be made up. Okay, you want to believe in those.
Okay, you got to pause that. I think that was probably the funniest part that I had during the debate, because he's trying to say that the hadith, if it contradicts the Quran, cannot be accepted, even though the grade of the hadith is sahih. So I said, okay, let's go on your argument then. I said, just give me one verse in your Quran that it contradicts this, and he couldn't. And then he said that this must be made up. Like,
may I intervene over here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Basically, you have already given him the verse where it does not contradict but acknowledges through the Quran, because this hadith actually acknowledges what is written in Quran, and Quran clearly says that it is Allah who makes you go astray. There are multiple verses in Quran where Allah makes people go astray. And then Allah said, I make them go astray because I want to fill my hell with jinn and the mankind all together. So basically, if he goes down that path, this hadith is actually acknowledging what Allah is saying. And I don't know why this so-called Islam defender isn't trying to defend Islam falsely. I think now is the time that I could actually give you some verses as well, so that next time you can actually give him the suicidal attempt by himself.
Well, I don't know if Chris wants to debate this guy.
And the whole thing about this is that I had a little different temperament with this gentleman because I was on a different platform and I wasn't on my own platform either. If that was my platform on my YouTube channel or on this show, he wouldn't have got to speak very much at all, and he would have only been answering for his Quran. But because it was in a debate type setting, it didn't matter what I said. He wouldn't respond to me through the whole thing.
And he didn't respond to you at all.
No.
So,
yeah. I would have booted him off, whether he was a Christian or what, because you don't coach. We're not there to coach people,
So at that point, I just wanted to make him look bad, and I think that
you already did that.
I think he did a good job of making himself.
He made himself look bad.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, after this point, there was no point of debating anyways. Like, this was the end of debate over here, right now.
That's true.
Chris, where did you find this Muslim? I'm just kind
of
curious.
Now you did it to me too.
I
didn't find him. They found me, Rad.
They sought you out, huh? Okay, well, where did they find you out and seek you out at? Was it Facebook or what, man?
No, the buddy messaged Kenny and is like, I want to debate a Christian. So Kenny knows that I'm a Christian and I debate. So he messaged me and said, you want to debate?
Okay, I was just wondering. Okay, well.
Do you mind if I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, Issa.
I think it is unfortunate, though. I think Muslims have a certain perspective of Christians. They think Christians are massively ignorant and that they don't actually know Islamic sources. So that's probably why he debated you, because he's like, I don't know Christian apologetics, so I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to easily defeat this guy. And I'm like, yeah, you might want to do some research before you start going into kind of like debates. I think that's the case. I think that's usually the situation. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with Harun Yahya or Adnan Oktar. He does these videos, like scientific videos about like how great Islam is, and through scientific means. Maybe that's stuff that you might want to look into if you haven't seen.
Hey, do you want to do us a favor and because I looked over to the chat and tell us why you think this guy is Iranian?
Well, his family name it's definitely Persian. Just like just the way that it's written, like the stylistic thing, it's definitely a Persian name. His accent is extremely Iranian. It's Persian. I'm very good at imitating accents, so I know that accent very well. The Iranian accent, they talk like this. Like, yeah, he has a very strong Iranian accent.
Can you do Adam very well? I'd like to hear that.
Oh, please do, Adam.
I can. I'm not entirely sure.
Love it. Love Adam's accent.
This Quran is crazy. It is fraudulent. We shouldn't look at the Quran at all. We should throw it into the garbage can. Throw it in the dustbin.
That's
Emmanuel
not me.
Adam
Do not put me in the space of Zakir Naik, man. Come on, that's insulting.
A little bit of Issa in that voice, Issa, when you're doing that.
Zakir Naik is my favorite. Oh, brother, let's look at Quran. Chapter 4, verse 31.
Oh, Issa, please keep on staying with us.
We're going to have to put him on the page. Robert, didn't you want to do something with him where you were with your videos or something like that? Maybe he's not there right now. But anyway, yeah, we're going to have to talk about that, Issa.
Brother, and do not do Zakir Naik with me, man. Don't compare me with Zakir Naik, at least not with that shithole.
Yeah, yeah.
My bad. No,
But something I wanted to raise, guys, with Eric. I don't know if Chris has it in the montage that he did, but what I thought was telling was when Chris started asking him, "So you haven't read the New Testament?" He says something to the effect, "Oh, not in its entirety." Okay, have you done 25%? He was buckling there as well. So did you do 5%? So
well, it sounds like Muhammad going on his mirage or whatever that is heaven. Can I pray 50 times? Can I pray 45 times? 5 times? Yeah, it sounds exactly what that was. Okay, can we get back on this?
Yeah, go ahead. Share your screen and play it.
All right, share screen, mute.
No. You're just saying they're fabricated. You're not actually proving they're fabricated. We have other. No, hold on there, Muji. Yes. Hold on now. Do you know a Muslim named Ali Dawa?
Yes, I know. Yes, I've heard him.
So he's actually affirmed that apostasy does equal the death sentence in an Islamic controlled country. So are you saying that he is wrong and you are right? Which one is right or wrong?
Excuse me. Ali Dawa is quite, what do you say? Higher scholar than him. I can tell you, I can show you. I don't know his name. Scholar, okay? Much older than Ali Dawa also says that, Dr.
Oh, you're not going to talk about Bilal Phillips, are you?
I'm telling you, Dr. Phillips.
You know Bilal.
You know Dr. Phillips, yeah?
Yeah, because hold on, Muji. Because yes, Dr. Bilal Phillips is the one that said the hadith about the blind man killing his concubine and Muhammad saying the blood was halal. Okay. He actually said that is a Sahih hadith. So if you're quoting him, you must accept that hadith as being authentic.
Brother Chris, right? You don't wait to me, okay? I
think what's happening is
is he interjecting here again? Hold on.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Here comes Mama.
Wow. Okay, hold on. Let's keep playing. Hold on.
The argument seemed to be more emotional than factual as far as not necessarily it's denying facts, but so when we come
he looks like he's speechless. I think this is the first time I've seen
he's befuddled because he knows he has to coach this guy.
It hurt his soul to moderate this debate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he
knows it's embarrassing.
Like I said, he's a control freak,
and he's embarrassed. Kenny, to be honest, Kenny's embarrassed by his own Muslims sitting here.
Okay, who's
and
this
he's watching him
guy? Who is this guy?
His words.
I'm sorry, Connie. Who's this guy he's talking about? Bilal Phillips? Is this that guy from Bilal that mosque in New York City?
No, he's Bilal Phillips is a Canadian sheikh. He's a Muslim.
Okay, he's the one who he's the one who's put out the videos about his concern about all of the Muslims leaving the faith.
Apostasy. It'd be like a tsunami. Have you ever watched that? Also he affirms that the blind man did kill his wife, and whatnot, and Muhammad did say that her blood was halal. He affirms that hadith 100%.
Yeah, and blind man did not just kill the wife; he killed the wife with the baby in her belly.
Yes.
By so it's not just one person killed; the innocent baby in the belly was killed as well, and Muhammad allowed it.
Yeah, the blood was halal.
Doesn't it say chest?
No, it says belly. The axe in the belly, and he pressed it. Yep.
Yeah, even if you think about it though, Connie, an axe at that point, you axe somebody in the chest, like where your chest bone is, that's taking your belly up.
Oh no! Right? I mean, I've heard people say that she was with the baby in her chest, like as if she was holding the baby, and she was killed while she was holding her baby. I've never heard it say womb.
It says she was pregnant. Pregnant Ummul Walad. So she was pregnant.
Okay. Well, I've never heard them say that. Yeah.
There's another hadith. There's another hadith. There's another hadith where somebody went and killed a woman who was nursing her child, or as she was nursing the child. And this is the one where Muhammad says 2 goats won't butt their heads over this woman. If I'm not mistaken.
So another murder, huh? That's great.
Yeah.
Religion of peace, huh? Wonderful.
Very.
Religion
wonderful.
of pieces.
Yep.
Religion of murder.
Exactly.
Say it right.
Okay. All right. So let's listen to more of the debate between Kenny and Chris here.
In these types of discussions,
debate.
when we make a point to build a particular case, we have to produce evidence to back the statements that we make, not just say, just not give emotional arguments for saying, it's the truth because I believe it's the truth. That's not going to change anyone else's mind. You have to give evidence. It's like walking into court and saying, I believe that the party is guilty or innocent just because that's how I feel about it. No, that's not going to work. We have to produce evidence that would demonstrate either guilt or innocence in a court of law. In the same way, when you come into these types of discussions, whether it's an official debate or a discussion, when you make a point, you have to be able to produce evidence that's going to back that point. And I think, so when a point is made, if we're going to talk about apostasy, then produce evidence that discusses apostasy. And if they're going to talk about equality among races, then we have to produce verses of the Quran and from the Hadith and from the Bible and so forth that are going to address the issue of race and equality and so forth. So again, it's a matter of building an argument based on the content and not based on fact and not on someone's emotions.
Yes.
But I don't think that's happened today. I think
brother, I told you that it's a myth. All right.
Yeah, you go ahead and pause that, Eric.
Okay, yeah. So first of all, Chris, because I listened to most of it until the very end. I think I even called you on Skype, didn't I? I was like, when is this going to end?
Yeah, in the middle of the debate.
Yeah, because I'm like, come on, dude, this is like cringeworthy watching this. But no, I find it fun. No, and your patience, though, I mean, was just awesome because I would have been like, because he's talking about woke Islam. By the way, you guys asked if he was Shia or Sunni. He said he's from Iran, but he's originally from Syria, if I understood that correctly. Or he was talking about some country that they're overthrowing the dictator. And then he literally says, see, God cannot do anything. We have to do it. We have to overthrow the dictators. Like in my country, he's talking about Syria, I believe. But anyway, I find this interesting.
And they want to bring that into America, huh?
Exactly. This woke Islam, he's talking about equity. And he's saying, well, yeah, if you we go to Mecca once a year and we all wear the same clothes. And I'm like, because I would have lost it right there, Chris. I would have been like, what? How does wearing the same clothes with no underwear, walking around a black stone for 7 days or whatever, it's been going on for 1,400 years? How's that working out with that equity there, buddy?
No, yeah. If you actually watch the debate, when he says that, I also say, yeah, there's a bunch of cults out there that dress all the same way and walk the same way. That doesn't mean that they're
Buddhism,
true.
Hinduism, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so Kenny and his woke Islam, but he's dude. Well, no, continue on because they say something else that was really even dumber, I guess. But yeah, I just wanted to interject that woke Islam.
All right, let me ask a couple things here. Okay, when I was playing that clip, did you guys hear an echo here in the studio?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. That's my. Okay, I didn't mute myself. Okay, if you hear an echo, because they typed it into chat here.
Do you have another page open, Eric? Because you necessarily don't have to mute yourself.
Yeah. Well, I have this window. I have 2 monitors here. I have the.
What kind of mute one? Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, that's fine.
I'll just mute myself.
I'm not going to coach you right now, okay?
No, that's fine. Okay, well, not in the middle of the show. I'll mess it up. The next thing you know, we'll be playing somebody else's debate. Okay, here we go.
This is a message because God sent us the Quran, okay, and the solution to our problems in Quran, okay. So He wanted that we do it ourselves, not that He sent us a Superman and save us, okay. If He was going to send us a Superman and save us, He would send him thousands of years ago.
So the Mahdi's not coming then?
No, not Jesus is coming. No,
so the Mahdi's not coming then?
It's just a message that we will get rid of our problems. Okay.
Mahdi's not coming then.
No, but
to destroy.
Let me see. Mahdi will come. He will come. It's during Second World War. First World War.
Okay,
Yes.
so if the Mahdi was coming,
Okay,
he would
let's-
have been here during the second.
Okay,
No, Kenny,
let's-
Kenny, hold on
let's-
here, Kenny. Hold on here, Kenny. Let it go. Let it go, Kenny.
Okay.
So you're saying that the Mahdi would have come during the Second World War if the Mahdi was coming,
Yes.
right?
Yes, I say.
So you disagree with Islam about the Mahdi then?
No,
right?
I'm not disagreeing with.
Yes, you are, sir, because in Islam, and if you would like me to teach you, or I can allow Kenny to teach you, what you're stating about the Mahdi is incorrect.
No,
Isn't that true, Kenny?
Yeah, let me tell you. First of all,
So let me clarify something. So it's
Go ahead, pause it now.
Let me with me, brother Muji. So let me,
Yeah, Kenny, tell us all about it.
Yeah, so y'all seen Kenny just try to rip roar and just wanted to get in there to save his buddy, and I was like, "Hold on, Kenny, let it go, Kenny." And did you see his face when he said,
Oh,
okay,
yes, man.
Was,
Embarrassed.
That debate hurt his soul. Something awful. So I wanted this guy to show. At this point, I've already proven that this guy's basically left Islam, right? Because he doesn't know anything about Islam. I was even questioning if he was even a Muslim. I was thinking that he was like agnostic almost when I was debating him by the way that he was talking. Like he denied almost everything in Islam that isn't even debatable, right? Like the Mahdi, that's not debatable in Islam, right? Apostasy in Islam, that's just not debatable in Islam. It's a fact, right? So, and he's denying all of these things that are pure fact in Islam. And then I let Kenny. Kenny does actually affirm here when we go back that I was right, and in Islam, the belief that Jesus is coming back and that the Mahdi is also coming is an actual belief that a Muslim does have in Islam. And then right after that, that's when he throws out his parental advisory warning about not agreeing with the debater.
Yeah, I need to hear what Kenny says to him on that point. I really want to hear that part.
All right, go ahead.
But hold on, before Chris, maybe you can answer this question for me before we move on. So, do you think Kenny would have been able to answer these questions any better? I mean, without lying.
I wouldn't have went to these questions with Kenny.
Kenny would not have gotten himself this much cornered. Let me just
me and Kenny, we would have been dealing with the breastfeeding. We would have been dealing with other stuff in Islam, not this actual political movement and whatnot. But the conversation with this guy ended up going to the Mahdi, and then he denied that the existence of the Mahdi and says that it's just a message.
Yeah, I really want to see what this guy's Kenny says.
Is that Issa talking or is that Adam?
That's me.
I mean, we're twins, you know.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Bad joke. Okay. Let me mute myself. Okay, hold on.
let me clarify something. So, Brother Muji and I have discussed this when Brother's his position, the Isa ibn Maryam, Jesus the son of Mary, and the Mahdi is a bit unconventional as it relates to the consensus among scholars and the actual the common view amongst Muslims. We do believe that Isa ibn Maryam, Jesus the son of Mary, will return before the day of judgment as a sign before the day of judgment, and we do believe the Mahdi will come at some point, inshallah. So I just want to clarify this. So listen, I'm not, and this is not an attack against Brother Muji. He can believe whatever he wants to. There is a disclaimer on the show that states that the representatives of the show and the host of the show, which is me, obviously, that we don't necessarily agree or disagree with anything that any panelists say. So
I need to have that on this show.
This is awesome.
As soon as Kenny come out with the disclaimer, he had admitted that I just destroyed him.
Man, he admitted
that's
two
crazy.
things. He admitted two things. Number one, he admitted that this. Sorry, there's an echo. So he admitted. Number one, that this Mujahid guy is a
There's
stupid
still the
guy.
echo.
He doesn't know about Islam whatsoever.
Hang on, Adam. There's still an echo, Eric.
Yeah, George, please mute yourself. Please mute yourself.
George, okay, let's see. Let me try.
It sounds like
Okay.
it's good now. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
George.
No,
George
it's
this
echo.
time.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Is it good now? Is it good now?
Yeah,
So, yeah,
we're good.
No, it's
Kenny,
echo.
Kenny,
Oh,
It's
it's
echo.
still
There's still an
Yes,
echo.
yes, still
All
echo.
right.
Yes.
somebody,
all right. So
mute
if you're
everyone.
not talking,
Everyone.
yeah. Okay. I don't know how to
DL,
mute everybody. Let me mute DL. DL is muted.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see.
Now it's just you and I, Adam. Go ahead.
Let's see. Am I echoing?
Still an echo.
So Eric, is it good?
Okay. Well, I'll mute myself. No problem. There we go.
Okay, let's see now. Wow, I'm
Still
echoing
an
no
echo.
matter what.
Still
What
an
It's
echo.
good. Adam, go out and come back.
Yeah, going out and coming back, man. Probably me. Bye bye. Thank you for muting everyone.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
Wait, let's see. Is there still an echo?
You know what that tells me as a Christian woman? Okay, there's still an echo. Goodness.
Okay. Am I echoing?
No, sir.
Okay. Then are you on a headset, Con?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm on headset as well.
I don't know why there would be an echo.
Steve, talk. Steve, are you echoing?
No, Steve is mute.
Hey, we're not echoing no more.
No
There's no
echoing.
echo. There's no echo.
All right.
Okay. As
We're
a
done with the
Christian
echo?
woman.
Yes, finally we are done with that.
Okay.
This part, I'm gonna play this part. Thank you, Chris. I love you, buddy. Mwah! From my side. Man, this is awesome. So Kenny just destroyed your debater that you were debating with. He destroyed it when you destroyed him already. And this is a mutual consensus again for every Muslim. Unless you are not even a Muslim or you are some cult of Islam. So he is probably from some kind of a very, very small sect of Islam, which is because he actually accepts some ahadith. Hence, I cannot even call him Quranist. So Quranists are like Quran only people. But like he's not even Quranist, because if he's Quranist only, then he would not accept any of the hadiths. He would simply say that I do not accept any hadiths. Now he's not even a Quranist. So Quranist actually talks about Mahdi not being there. They actually says that because they don't believe in any hadiths. So he's not even a Quranist. So if he's not even a Quranist, he accepts a hadith, then like literally you cannot put him any box. So either he's lying, he's simply lying, or I actually do not know of any subsect of Sunni Islam or Shia Islam who believes that there will be no Mahdi. That's like I have never known that.
Can he just be ignorant? I mean, let's just
impossible. We were taught about Mahdi and Isa coming back since childhood. Like this is the basic end time prophecy.
And
Like
just
this
to
is the basic end
piggyback on
time.
what Adam's saying, is this guy actually said if God was going to send the Mahdi, he would have sent him during World War I and World War II. Right?
You know what's
he's saying that God should have did it then.
Wow. So Allah was wrong, huh? Allah missed it.
Yeah, he actually says later in the debate, I don't know if you got that in the recording, where he says, no, God can't do anything. But, yeah, so basically, this is what I wanted to say. So I was listening to this and I was watching the chat, and Kenny's getting all kinds of stuff. What is this guy talking about? You know what I mean? So when Kenny says, yeah, they're complaining to me like I believe this stuff, I don't come over to my house and chop my head off. You know, go someplace else. Anyway.
But you know, in this situation with Kenny, it at least shows us that he has a conscience still, and it's not severed, because he tries to distance himself from that guy, and that shows you that there's still hope in Kenny because his conscience is still intact.
But let's just
So
be
those
honest
are the good
there.
things that we can see.
Yeah,
and we
let's just
can-
be honest there and not put too much on Kenny that shouldn't be put on him. He didn't have a conscience. The only thing that he was trying to do there is save face.
I know.
Because he didn't want to be looking as bad as a Muslim that I was debating. So he was just distancing himself from that guy, not from Islam itself, just from that guy.
He's saving his own backside from the rest of the Muslimin, because if Kenny will agree to this guy, he will lose all his subscribers and all his followers if he agrees to this guy. That's the reality, because like no Muslim in a good sense of mind and state of mind would actually say that Mahdi will never come, number one, or if he come, he should have come in World War II or World War I. And if he's not even Quranist, then nobody knows which sect he belongs to. You should have asked him right there and then. If I were at your place at that time, I should have like left the discussion and I would have said, hey man, forget the discussion for the time being. Can you please explicitly define which subsect do you believe in? Because like I have not known any Muslim who would believe in your kind of explanation. Like seriously, I personally would have wanted to know which subsect he belonged to.
It's probably that same subsect that of the Jews that worship Ezra as the son of God.
Yeah.
We know it exists because it's in the Quran.
Or those Christians that believe the Trinities, Allah, Mary, and Jesus.
Right. Yeah. It's
it probably said it in the Injil, right, where Jesus said, "I am God, worship me."
Right. Yeah.
Well, you know, this debate is just gonna present itself as a lesson to Kenny that he does need to vet his Muslim participants.
And that was going to be one of my questions too, DL.
Mm-hmm. Do you mind if I share something too?
Please.
Yeah,
no, you're not allowed.
Okay.
Is that Adam or Isa?
Oh, only if you do it in Adam's voice.
Brown guys are not allowed. Brown guys aren't allowed. No, it's funny. I was going to joke. I'm like, Isa ibn Maryam is right here, right? No, the thing that I would say is, there are people who are like cafeteria religious people. Like they pick and choose whatever they want, and it's
like you,
hard, huh?
Like
bam.
You.
That's actually yeah.
You said like me? Oh, you don't
yeah,
know
like you.
I didn't put any identification, so there's no. I'm
a
more.
You have a buffet religion.
I purposely.
You have a buffet religion.
Perhaps well, we don't know. It's a secret, and we're keeping that a secret. That's a package deal. But the thing is, the situation. No, but what I'm talking about is people who are saying I'm an advocate or I'm a representative of a religion. I don't do that. I don't come and say I'm the representative of a religion. You'll never see me do that. But if a person is a representative of a religion, they might take a cafeteria approach where they're picking and choosing their stuff. And it's hard when you have someone who's like an apologist, like most people here are apologists, and they've read all these texts, they've done all this research, and then they come into the conversation like, well, I know all this stuff. And then you have this person who's like like, for example, I've had a conversation with a Muslim young lady, and I was talking about divorce. And, I've really studied this. You have different forms of divorce. And I said, it's very hard for a woman to get a divorce in Islam. Like, if she initiates it, she has to go through a very, very long process to get divorced.
Yep.
It's called a khul. Like, she has to go and if the man says, I don't want it, it's the same problem actually in Orthodox Judaism. It's the same issue, but there's a lot more pressure. There's like people that will force the man to give a divorce. It's not the same thing in the Islamic tradition. It's very, very difficult for a woman to get a divorce. And she's like, there's no problem in Islam for a woman to get a divorce. I'm like, are you serious? Like, have you studied the text? Like the scholarly, it is a problem, and there needs to be reformation there. That's a big problem. If a woman says, I want to get out, this guy's abusive, he's hostile, he's what do they call it? He's cheating, he's going and seeing all these other women. I want to get out of this situation. And she says, can I have a divorce? And the man says, no, sorry, you're stuck with me for life. She's stuck with him pretty much, unless she has to prove a case. Like she has to prove that she's the guy's not paying the bills. And then not only does she have to prove the case, she has to get the qadis and the imams, who are mostly all men, to go get along with this. That's very difficult. And this woman was like, that doesn't exist in Islam. And I'm like this is not true. Like, that's Islam 101. Part of the fiqh. It's a part of jurisprudence. Like if you study fiqh and jurisprudence, it's there. And I think what Muslims can do is say, I want to wrestle with this. This is a difficult thing in my tradition. But to say it doesn't exist at all, that's problematic, in my opinion.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Is this guy just ignorant of your basic tenets of the faith? Or okay, well that's another possibility that could very well be. But if you're going to lie that blatantly, why do it in front of somebody like Kenny that you know that, well, you don't know, I guess you don't know for sure if you're going to get called out on it. Maybe he was just trying to pass it off. Okay. Does anybody have anything else to add before I continue playing?
I would like to justify why I said he's a liar, because this is the basic principle of Islam that he is lying about. Me being a Muslim for far long than any of you ever were, I can say it from all the strength in my body that he is lying, because he's just going away from the very basic principles of Islam. No matter which subsect you believe in, Brailwi, Wahhabi, wherever you pick up, man, wherever you pick up, he's going against every inch of the Islamic doctrine.
Okay, so isn't this permissible? Isn't this the taqiyya where you can do that if you're trying to win people over to Islam? Isn't this
if he takes this as jihad, which it is, jihad bil lisan, then yes, you can lie in jihad bil lisan. It's stated in multiple ahadith that you can jihad. War is deception according to Muhammad, and in deception and war is deceit, and you can lie in war. Bil lisan means by your tongue you can lie. So it's the basic principle of war, because war is deceit. That's how Muhammad described war.
Let me ask Eric something. Eric, you said something a while ago, and I want to clarify your point. Are you saying that Kenny does not practice taqiyya?
He does, but to the smaller extent.
No. I'm not saying that Kenny does anything. I'm not gonna.
So why is he better than this guy?
Well, that's a good question. That's a good point. Maybe Kenny's doing the same thing, or it's hard
Kenny's
to say.
At least being honest, because he's trying to distance himself. No, just hang on, because he's trying to distance himself from this guy. He knows that he's a grave embarrassment to this debate. So that was what I will give Kenny, because he says, whoa, wait a minute, I've got a disclaimer. This is in my policy that I don't necessarily agree with the people that I bring on.
I'm sorry.
But the other guy.
I'm going to answer this before you go to the next point.
Let me finish. Adam, let me finish.
You're going to another point, so let's finish this point first.
No, you don't have my brain here.
Go ahead, Connie.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you. But the other guy is just jumping, floundering like a fish out of water. Whereas Kenny at least says, look, in a sense, I distance myself from this guy. That's where Kenny is being honest, saying, whoa, I don't stand here with him.
Okay, go ahead.
So now let me answer you, because the second point is irrelevant, because the first point is the main point. The problem with Kenny is if he agrees to this guy, all of his followers will kill him.
Drop him. Yes.
Kill him.
Yeah,
let's just literally say that they will kill him. So
kind of
it's not about
kind of what they did with you, Adam, on your Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
exactly.
So basically, right now, Kenny has no choice but to denounce him, not because of his morals, but because of his basic fear that he will be demolished, degraded, destroyed by his own Muslim fellows if he go by this basic theology that this so-called Muslim is saying. So it does not describe whatsoever about the moralities of Kenny. Does not.
Wow.
This does not describe the moralities of Kenny.
Well, I think when we start questioning people's motivations for it's kind of a hard spot to be in.
Right, Eric.
What's Kenny's motivation? Is it to save face for his followers, or is it because he has an honest strain in his brain that he wants to make sure that he doesn't look as dumb as this guy that Chris was debating? It's hard to say, and I'm sure there's a lot of validity.
Yes,
to
it's all on
those
the table.
opinions. So
yeah, because I can say it from the past experience, how he debated over here in this platform long time ago when I was here, when he was talking about Ummi and all these kind of stuff. So I know that when he wants to deceive and lie, he does that. So from the previous history and what he's saying right now, if I make 2 + 2, I can say from the authority of my previous experience with him that yes, Kenny does do deception a lot of times. But
Yes.
right now over here, he just
he
simply
hates
cannot.
me. Yeah, can't.
Okay, real quick, if I can interject here, please. Okay, so bottom line on motives, only time will tell. Okay, past experience, although not indicative of present or future experiences, can be used as a benchmark. So yes, his past experience does indicate this tendency towards lying. However, okay, like I said, only future interaction and future time will tell. Now, the thing though is that I want to remind you, liars tell the truth, and people who tell, and honest men lie. Okay, so again, he is saying the truth there. Could very well be saying the truth there. For all the reasons above, it doesn't change the fact, okay, that it's not the truth. Okay, and the bottom line is this: yeah, he knows he could. I mean, if they start complaining like that, he knows what happened with him in Ijaz, right, or whatever, as you guys are telling me. So he's already experienced the sting, if you will. You know what I mean? But well, that's all I wanted to say on that. So anyway, go ahead.
Has the ban on Kenny from this show been lifted?
I haven't lifted it after, you know, and I was after Chris had mentioned this yesterday that he was going on his show, and what Chris does is what Chris wants to do. You know, I'm not going to tell him not to do.
Chris went rogue. He went rogue.
No, I'm not going to do that. I mean, he can do what he thinks is best. You know, for the
well, it was Chris. It was Chris that brought him on for like 5 minutes and then kicked him off. Hey,
well, this
Kenny,
was
how you
after.
doing?
Well, this is after what he did to Jay. This is what he did. This is after what he did to Jay after the Ijaz Ahmad doxing issue. But after what he did, you know, and I don't want to. You know, I don't. You know, if you guys want him to come back on, I don't have a problem with you guys wanting him to come back on. I personally, after what he did, you know, I don't want to make it after what he did last fall to me. You know, I don't want to have anything to do with him. But if you guys think it's best, I'm not. You know, I'm a big boy. I can take it. But
I agree with you, Eric. I agree with Eric, and this is what I told my wife earlier, because me and my wife actually had this discussion, because she knows everything that has happened between us and Kenny throughout our history as well. And I told her, I said, there's been an agreement, and so far both sides have stuck to their agreement. So I have no problem going on his platform and allowing him to come on my platform, my YouTube channel. Before he comes on this platform, there has to be a discussion between him and Eric. That discussion has to take place before there's any option of Kenny coming on this show, because of what happened between him and Eric in the past.
Well, I printed up that what had transpired, because we were going to have it. We were doing some. I think it was on the Radio Free Kafiristan show, and I had just happened to leave it on the printer, and the Queen of Kafiristan picked it up, and so we had to have a discussion about. She goes, "This guy's really doing this. These guys are really," and I'm like, "It's okay, you know." And she goes, "Oh my God, you need to stop." And she told me that she didn't like me doing this show. She never listens, but.
Yeah.
So
oh wait, no, he got the wife involved. Oh no.
Yeah. Well, no. She didn't. She didn't realize. I don't tell her what goes on with all of this, you know, because she's really not.
My wife
really
didn't
not
like what I was doing either. She was. My wife was with your wife on this one.
Yeah. So she. But anyway, we'll have a discussion about this off air. I want to complete this, because we do these clips and we never get them done because we get off track.
Play that. Roll that beautiful bean footage. Don't forget to mute.
Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
If I'm sitting here and I'm just trying to remain neutral, keep in mind that this is a discussion that I set up for Chris and Brother Muji. So it's not. I'm just a neutral party. I'm just hosting the event, and so I don't necessarily agree or disagree with anything that anyone says. If anyone wants to know what I believe, then I'll tell them what I believe. But I just want to clarify that. Muji can make his position clear on the matter. So, all right.
Okay. No. First, David. No, you cannot.
Right. So let this play out, Eric, because this is the whole argument between the Muslims.
Do it. You want me just to let this play?
Let this whole part play out, because this is an argument between Muslims at the end.
Yeah, let's hear it.
But before you go there, I think you skipped out an important part there, Chris, in the montage, where you asked him how much of the New Testament he has read.
Yeah.
And
I did keep that in.
And he could not even admit to having read even 5%. And I think this is important and sad at the same time, because we have these Muslims. He was very confident he would come and expose and show why Islam is so great. But it's sad that these people are not hearing the gospel. They're not hearing it from Christians. They're not hearing it from us. They're hearing it from their sheikhs who filter the information out and give them the wrong impression. It's really sad. It's so sad. And maybe we need to do more work for these people to hear the truth, because he was so sure Christianity was wrong, and then clearly he didn't have a clue what Christianity really teaches.
Yeah, because as George was saying, well, I asked the guy, I was like, so how much of the New Testament have you read? And I started at 50%. And he's like, no, I wouldn't say that. And I was like, okay, like 25%? He's like, no, not that much. So I was like, 10%, 5%. He's like, well, maybe. So he hasn't even read 5% of the Bible yet. And he assumes that Christianity doesn't teach certain things. And as I told him within that little montage, is that you can't know what another religion knows unless you read that religion.
There's an echo, Eric.
I'm not sure who it is. Okay, if you're not talking, just go ahead and mute your mic, guys.
Hey, Chris.
I wanted to add
Chris,
something.
that's typical of Islam. I mean, that's the same thing that I get on Delhi about. Is they're just taught that Christians don't understand their own scriptures, and when they run into somebody who is knowledgeable of their own scriptures, then it becomes a problem, and the only thing they can default on is that your scriptures are corrupted or they've been tampered with. And then the other thing is that Muslims more and more are running into Christians that are very knowledgeable about the Quran. And I remember when I first read the Quran back in '99, after about 5 years of studying it, I decided that it was about time for me to start engaging Muslims. And one of the things I found out is that the average rank and file Muslim doesn't even know what their Quran teaches. So, which kind of puts them in the same category as Christians who are religious and go to church every Sunday, but have no knowledge of their scriptures. The typical Muslim is that way too. So he actually ran into somebody like yourself who's knowledgeable of your own scriptures, and you're knowledgeable of his scriptures, not only his scriptures, but his sunnah. And he got his hat brought to him. So Kenny, playing mama, has to come in and try to rescue, his child. So
yeah. That he did that.
How come they don't read the Quran? I mean, my son, he's a Muslim by kidnap, and I've asked him, how much have you studied of the Quran? And he told me -2.
Yeah, but they have these basic claims that they're taught to make to the people of the book. Like if they say this, then say that. So somebody like Delhi, who says we believe in that which was originally given to the prophets. Well,
yeah, I heard that.
What does that mean in this hypothetical document called the Injil? I always tell them, just quote the first verse from it to me. What does the very first verse of this Injil say?
Right.
I want to add something too that I think is important.
Making them robots.
Go ahead, Issa.
Sure, no problem. The thing that I would add to this story too, it is really unfortunate, having really been, seeing within the Islamic community that there is a real lack of knowledge of Christianity. I think it's deeply problematic. I think if you're going to come to a debate circle, you better know what this is before you come in. And I think that's a fair point. Like I think DL is making a valid point, as well as Connie. I think this is a valid point. If you're going to come into the conversation, you should read these texts. And I would say even more so, because maybe I have a scholarly approach, I think you should read exegesis too. You shouldn't just read the text. You should read exegesis, because Muslims say you should read the Quran and you should read tafsir, which is the exegesis, right? So I say, if you're going to talk about Christianity, then you should read the exegesis too. Read what the meanings of the text are, not just read the text from your own bias. If you're going to do it, go all the way. That's my perspective.
Well, you had RN in the chat said it best.
I love that.
Because reading the Quran is like as pleasant as eating cardboard. Yeah, come on. Yeah, that's classic right there. And then Colin chimes in. It's because unless they read the Quran in Arabic, it's difficult to understand. There's been people that said that reading the Quran is like doing penance, and for me, reading it is. I'm serious. It's just terrible. I mean, you're going from one event topic to the other, and it's just the same rhythm and rhyme of it is what it is. And I got a book on this.
You feel like your ears have just been trashed with junk of insult without any proof, just saying things against. Yeah.
This book right here does a really good job of showing how the Quran is a development.
What's it called? We couldn't see it, Eric.
I'm sorry. Okay, this
is that Das Kapital?
No, not Das Kapital. What are you, crazy? Okay, this is from a Quran or an oral formulaic study of the Quran. This is by Andrew Bannister. And in this book, what he does is he puts it in a computer program and demonstrates that the Quran was a development. It developed based on poetry that pre-existed it and existed in the Arabian Peninsula. And he uses the number of phrases because in poetry, there's always a number of phrases. Like, for instance, if I was going to say, if I was going to begin a story a long time ago, and then you would go in a land far away, because that's how you always open up a story, and that's how a lot of these verses in the Quran work. And he puts it. It's a really good book. I can't remember how much it is, but if you want to really take a good dive on that, we call that a deep dive. Is that what it's called if you're a scuba diver?
No, you have to say it right. A deep dive.
A deep dive, right? If you really wanted to do that, that's a book to get into. Okay, so we're completely off topic again. Go ahead, Deal.
I was just gonna say, if you take a deep dive, don't come up too quick. You don't want to get the bends.
This book will definitely give you the bends, though. I mean, it is really good, and it hurts you. It is a tough read, though.
The other problem with engaging Muslims is their caricaturization of other religions. The Quran doesn't present a true picture of a Christian at all.
Mm-hmm.
So when they come to you, the categories in which they place your belief system are all wrong, and so you're constantly having to correct that. I don't believe in three gods. I believe in one God,
right.
And you're jumping through these hoops with them all the time because they don't have a, it's kind of like when we study Baalism in the Bible. At least we have a true depiction of what Baalism is. We're not caricaturizing a pagan religion. So first of all, I like Muslims to tell me what is a Christian according to the Quran. So they're stuck with having to give a delineation of what a Christian is. So when we talk about the contradictory passages of, a Christian, a Sabian, and a Jew don't have to worry about anything on the day of judgment. But then you have, what is that, Surah 385 that says no other religion except Islam will be accepted by Allah. Well, when I bring that to Muslims, they'll say, well, the Christians that don't have to worry are the ones that were made uppermost is not your kind of Christian. So they're stuck with having to create this apocryphal group of Christians that, go back to the time of Jesus that, believe things antithetical to what we believe. So,
we demonstrated this a couple of weeks ago on the show where we were talking about their misunderstanding of the Trinity. And
exactly
today they say, well, the Trinity is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And then you ask them, well, where does it say that in the Quran? Well, it doesn't say that in the Quran. It infers Father, Son, and Mother Mary. And when they'll try to get away from it, well, that's not what it means. It only infers that. And then what I did was I went in, I did a little more looking. I looked at the Tasphere, and Ibn Abbas, a contemporary of Muhammad in the first the three rightly guided caliphs, said it's Mother Mary, Jesus, and Allah. So you're right. It's an uphill battle.
I need to make a meme on that.
Yeah, it's an uphill battle when they don't even understand the bare basics of your own religion. Where did Chris go? Did Chris leave already? I think he left.
He said he had to leave. That's why I wanted to play the video.
Okay, so I have to go 5 minutes. Okay, he had to go. All right. Well, we're gonna finish his debate here. Let's go ahead and do that. I should because he can't stay the whole show on Sundays. I should have mentioned that. That's my fault. Okay, let's
rewind a little bit so you get the full cut because he makes an excellent cut here. It's totally funny. So replay like a few seconds right before you get to no.
Okay, you just tell Rad. You just come up and tell me when to stop it.
Right. So, one thing I would like you guys to pay attention to. One thing I'd like you guys to pay attention to is this. The Imam came on.
Go ahead, George.
Imam came on and was saying that Islam was a solution to there being more females than males.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to that in the video. Yeah, go ahead and play the video. Yeah.
Okay,
let's play the video.
Okay, go ahead, and I'll comment afterwards because there's something important. I think.
All right, here we go. Boom, ba, boom.
That looks a little bit more. So see this black guy in the right?
You have to be able financially and otherwise as well. Okay. So anyway, okay. Let's put aside that one. But Allah says that you will not, be just even you strive. Okay. So this polygamy was just Allah tried to stop it because it was unlimited. By limited,
incorrect.
Okay.
Incorrect.
All right. That's but Allah says that you will not succeed to be just, and this is not just. Let me
chime in. Let me chime in.
One question, Imam.
Let me chime in just quickly. Okay. So I believe what the brother Muji just said is correct. It's no offense to anyone, but for someone to take a second wife in Islam, they have to get the approval of their first wife. Otherwise, they're being unjust. Yes,
no,
that is true, brother. So it is, no, brother. I've studied this extensively. I wrote about this in the 15th chapter. But it's not incorrect. The brother is correct about this particular point, that for a Muslim man to take another wife, he must get the agreement of his first wife. Otherwise, he's being unjust to the first wife, because the first wife very well may not want him to do so. So in every step of the way, no, it's not. That is correct. Every step of the way, Islam demands that justice be given to everyone. So it'd be unjust to the first wife if she did not want you to take a second wife, for you to just take a second wife just because, and you're just disqualifying her feelings. You cannot do that. The reason being, let me clarify. The reason being, because the first wife, let's say by example, you married her early and you lived, in most of the time you lived in poverty. Then suddenly you came into some money and you're wealthy. It would be unjust to the first wife if you took a second wife who did not have to live with you through all the years of hardship, who came and benefited from the time when you lived, you're wealthy and you're taking the second wife. It would be an injustice to the first wife who was there and who did have to suffer with you and who did have to struggle and toil and so forth. So we can discuss that later, but I just want to make sure that we don't give information that's incorrect either direction. So we can talk more about that, but that is the matter.
I have an issue with that, but we're not going to go there. We can do that amongst ourselves later.
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
But to finish what I was saying earlier about the Quran.
Hey, can you please stop over here?
Yeah.
Okay. Then we have.
Yeah. Yes. So once again, this guy actually Kenny. Now this is a plain and simple lie. What he was saying.
Which one?
That you have to ask for the permission of the first wife. That's a plain and simple lie. and you do not have to ask permission. Nowhere in Quran and nowhere in the early scholars that you will find the permission of the wife. You do not need to. Allah has ordained it. It was given to the Muslim men that they can marry 2 or 3 or 4 among them. Allah starts from the verse saying 2, not 1. So that's how Quran is written. And if you do not have the mean, then you can marry one of them. So now, looking into these verses, you can clearly say that you do not need the permission. Now, what he's trying to do is to make the Westerns understand and comprehend and make Islam look better. He is combining another verse with this verse to make it sound like, hey, because of this, because of that. But no, Allah is simply very clear. You as a Muslim, you cannot show me one single verse of Quran which clearly says that you have to ask permission from your first wife to marry the second wife. It's incorrect.
What about the hadith?
Okay, even in the hadiths, you do not have to ask for the permission. Okay, you do not have to literally ask for the permission. This is not something that is given to the wife to permit you. It is your right. You know, when you talk about Hudud Allahs cannot be changed by a woman or a man for the permission or ordinance. That's the basic fact and the basic belief, and every Muslim will agree to me on that. But when they argue with the Westerners, they actually add these things because now they are living in the West. Otherwise, marriage and divorce, like it was said earlier, even divorcing a woman cannot get divorced. Woman can ask for divorce. It's called khula. Same is the case, because women have to ask for khula and the guy doesn't want to give them divorce. Woman is confined and she cannot get married again unless the first guy divorced. On the flip side, because this guy doesn't want to give divorce to this woman, because so-called he was angry with this woman, this guy can simply go and marry the other wife. Do you think the woman that he's not divorcing, will she give him the permission? No. Hey, you are making me suffer for my physical rights. I will make you suffer for the physical rights. But that's the thing. It is not permission from the wife.
What about Sharia law? What about the Sharia?
All the Sharia laws, go read the books. Any of the Sharia law will acknowledge what I'm saying, because this is the authority of Allah. How can you change what has been given to you by the authority of Allah? So once again,
where does Kenny think that he's getting this from, do you think, Adam?
The Western Muslims who are adding new things to Islam to make Islam look better. That is why I always say, if you want to know Islam, go to the East, come to the East. These Westerners have an Islam for Westerners so that they would love them and give them the time to get into, and they can invade the West. That's it, simple.
That's right. So then where is these books at? Where are these laws written? Are they written in a book or what? These new Western laws that you said that they're adding.
Kenny doesn't have any basis for what he's saying here, and this is because it's in this book right here. This will tell you, and what Kenny does in his book, which is
his
right
own book.
Here. This is
his own book.
It should say instead of consider Islam,
and it's perfectly preserved.
Kenny's Islam is what this should say, not consider Islam. Because he mentioned that he has a whole chapter dedicated to women on here, and I was just it's only, I don't know, 6-7 pages long, but I was trying to scan through it to find out what if he is in fact citing some type of Quranic verse or some type of. Well, I'm trying to find it, and it's not here. So you're right. As far as I can tell by his book, it doesn't exist. He didn't cite it in his book.
There is not a single verse, not a single hadith.
Second edition. He does have a second edition to Kenny Islam that is supposed to.
He says it's chapter 15. What's his chapter 15?
No, that has nothing. That has nothing to do. Listen. That chapter has nothing to do with the divorce. That's what I said. He is trying to misquote something else and attach it to this. The surah of woman, the chapter of women, which is called Suratun Nisa, it is very, very clear on this subject. And any Muslim knows that.
By
So
who? Is
see,
that Bukhari or who?
no, the Quran. Come on, Connie.
Oh, the Quran. Oh, sir, I'm sorry. I'm thinking Sunnah. My bad.
Hey, guys, if I could just interject here real quick.
I want to say something.
Sure. Okay, well, here's the deal. You guys are making too much into what Kenny and this other Muslim believe. The thing is, they'll have their own flavor of Islam, okay? I mean, they make up their own Islam, okay? So you're not going to get much out of that, okay? But the funniest part of this is coming up in the video, man. This is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, go ahead.
So what I
radical, it'd be like a flea flavored Zam Wells smoothie.
So
go ahead.
So what I would say, the thing to think about in this situation is, so there's a lot of complexity when it comes to this issue. See, I think what we're doing, what people do, and I think this is what King is doing, Imam Bomer is doing, is that these things in modern ethics are seen as problematic. In ancient times, this wasn't a problem. Most people did do this kind of thing. Like, you could have polygamy, and it was a patriarchal society, and then basically had unilateral power. That was a normal thing, particularly in Semitic tradition. This is not like some bizarre, wild thing. But I think in our modern standard, thousands of years later, we have a different kind of standard. So this is problematic now. These things are viewed as problematic. So that's why I think he's coming from a kind of a Western perspective. It's sort of like that woman who I was talking about who kind of denied that cool exists. It's kind of like, well, I'm going to kind of reform Islam to the modern day. I'm going to take a sort of like reform Jewish approach where the text can evolve to the time. That's kind of what I'm feeling is going on here. I wouldn't say he's lying. I think it's a really strong position. I would not thrust intent. That's the thing. I could say the information is not true. What you could argue is it's ethically better to tell the other wife. That's seen in the sources of the scholars, but it's not mandatory. You can easily get a second wife. Adam is right. You can get a second wife without that. There's nikah tasir, there's muta marriage, there's many different forms. Like muta marriage is like a temporary marriage where, like, if I'm traveling and I'm away and I go to war and my wife's at home, I have needs. So I can find a local woman and we can make a contract and she becomes my temporary wife for that time. If I say a month or a day and we both agree, we can have a mutual agreement on that. Some might argue that's kind of like prostitution. I don't know if I would say that. But
okay, what part of that is not like prostitution?
Well, I would say it's kind of a slippery slope because you're making a contract. You're making a contract yourself, because people will argue marriage is that, but I wouldn't do that. But I'm just saying the thing is what you're doing is you are making a temporary contract, which is, it's bizarre. It's not something I'm into. It's definitely not my taste, but
yeah. So let's not. Anyway.
Anyway, I have a question. Let me ask Isa a question. So
sure,
Isa, in all of that that contortion that you just did, why am I not allowed to say that Kenny's lying?
Well, because the thing is, we'd have to prove intent in that. It's just like the same thing. Like if you in murder cases, if I have to prove malice aforethought, if I'm going to charge someone for first degree murder, there's a difference between first degree murder and third degree murder. So one could argue this is sort of like a manslaughter situation. So the person may really not know this information. I don't know what his intent. I don't know how much information he knows about this particular topic or what he thinks on this issue, but what we do know is that Muslim men, at least historically speaking, could have secret marriages, nikah tasir and muta marriage. That was a normal practice that people did. The Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah have abrogated muta marriage, but there's still nikah tasir, which is pretty close to muta marriage. It's like I can go to another place and I can have because it's a secret marriage. I just don't tell anyone. I can get a imam. I can have that contract, and no one would know. The problem will come if the woman gets pregnant, then things change up a little bit.
That would be a problem to get it. That would be like a Hunter Biden problem, getting a stripper pregnant and having to deal with that type deal.
So basically, let me answer to Isa over here. Isa, that's not my problem. So my problem is simply the same when he says that it is Islamic to ask the permission where he cannot provide a single source. If he would say what you are saying, I am fine. I am fine if he says what you are saying. You are saying that the modernism and the modern culture and all allows us and wants us to ask the permission. Then fine. But say it like this. Why do you say that Islamically you have to ask permission? That's a lie. You see what I'm saying?
I do see what you're saying. I think what people do is they project themselves onto the religion, so that he's seeing the religion as synonymous with himself. I'm saying that this is a whole mental kind of construction. I'm just saying I don't know if I would call that malintent, but I hear what you're saying. It isn't accurate, and I wouldn't be an authority. Like, I think being an authority is always a problem, where you go and say this is what Islam says. You probably should pull back. What you're right. You could have said this is what I feel Islam is saying. And that would be
again, you guys are putting too much on Kenny here. Come on, he's not going to understand all that, man. Okay, seriously. I mean, I do got to say with Isa, yeah, okay. So technically, yes, if this is like a court of law, you could not technically say that he was lying because you have to prove intent. How you would prove intent on that is that if once you've proven to him that he was completely wrong and he kept repeating it, then he would be lying because he's heard the truth, the facts are there, blah 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 blah. But anyway, like I said, too much on Kenny. But the video, it's funny.
Issa, because if you read Kenny's actual book, he doesn't like his wouldn't pass like first year of uni kind of actual sources because his sources are so bad that you literally just can't. They're just.
Hey Eric, how many times does he quote like Time magazine or whatever in his book? Or did he?
Well, he doesn't do a lot of quoting. There's no bibliography in the book, but I did notice he did have. Let's see here.
Something in Time magazine called him Man of the Year.
I don't know if it does or not, but here he says, okay, Sir 443 does not give a man a right to 4 wives. Instead, it gives him an obligation in certain specific situations as a type of welfare system for single mothers and widows. So marriage is a welfare system, according to the Imam. And there's a lot of, and you know, the only book, the second most difficult book for me to read besides the Quran was this one. And I did give Kenny the courtesy of reading it and commenting on it. And I just got tired of doing it because there's so many misrepresentations or contradictions between that book and what the Sharia actually says, that you just get tired of it being misrepresented. It is a misrepresentation. And as an imam, as a leader, I would think that he would want to be more honest with the Sirah. I mean, or with the Quran. Even what's his face? The Sheikh Qadi come out and said that we don't need to be embarrassed about Aisha's age. It is what it is, and quit making up these stories about it because we're here in the West. And this is where, you know, when Adam knows this, John knows this, Steve knows this, these guys have lived in these countries. These guys know how these laws are applied. These guys know how these customs are applied. And it is nothing like what we find in here. And so when he starts interjecting this, who's this? Well, this Imam Kafir? No, he's not a Kafir. I'm a Kafir.
It's the battle of the Imams, man.
Kashif, Imam Kashif Shahaluddin Masjid Worth. Good Lord, Hami has too many names.
And Kenny corrects himself and says it's the 14th chapter.
Okay, and that's what I was reading.
Yeah.
The 14th chapter or the 15th chapter is Judgment Day. But I was thinking maybe he was quoting out of his.
Can you send that to me through Messenger if you can later on? If you think about it. About that, I would like to know what Kenny says in that book in the 14th chapter on that topic.
I don't know if he has a Kindle version of it or not.
Yes,
he does.
Oh, he does? Okay.
Yeah. Eric, don't you remember you shared it with me? I checked it out of your library.
Oh, that's right, I did. That's right, I do have it on Kindle. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay.
You just got to get her
Send
email
it to me.
address.
I'll be glad to buy it or whatever from you or whatever it takes.
No, I can loan it. I think I can loan it.
Yeah, just send it to my Amir. You've got my Amir address.
Oh, you can loan books on Kindle?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Only for a certain. Well, hold on a second. Only for a certain time and only a certain number of times, because Brad, was it you or Chris that I loaned it to?
It was me. Okay, so here's the way it works. You can rent out the book. Okay, you can even rent out movies if you bought them on Amazon Prime. But you can have watch parties at the movies. But anyway, with the Kindle, you can share it out, but only one person at a time, and it's for 2 weeks.
Okay,
Just like a library. Just like a library.
I'll see if I can share. I'll see if I can share it with you.
I have over 200 books on Kindle now.
You're out of control.
Let me kind of change the subject a little bit. I believe early on when Chris first started, he was saying that Sam Shamoun is the one that brokered this deal for them to have this debate.
No. That's a long story deal. You and I can talk about it offline.
Okay.
We were going to do a show one evening, and about an hour or two before the show, Sam called me and asked us not to do it. And out of respect for Sam and what he was saying, and based on what he said, I said, okay, fine. We won't do the show in its entirety as we had planned. And I'll talk to you about that offline. And
okay, no problem.
Okay, can we finish this up, because we only have about 1 minute left in this.
The funny part's coming up. Yeah, right.
Okay, here we go. Hold on. Let me.
Are we still going to do the deity of Christ?
We probably won't have time.
Oh, no.
We can do it next week. Hold on.
Oh,
okay,
yay.
let's get this done. All right, and mute.
Country like America and all over the world, pretty much, alcoholism is an epidemic, has reached epidemic proportions, right? And they said, well, where's the solution? Where's the answer to help with this problem of alcoholism? The Quran gives you an answer. It says, do not take intoxicants. It says, you will find, and do not gamble. You will find in them some benefit, but the harm is greater than the benefit. So stay away from them. Okay. Here we have another example where Allah gives us a solution to our problem, but many of us don't want to accept the solution to our problem because it interferes with our desires.
Can I now say?
Wait, what happened?
There we go. No, that was the end of it.
Oh no, because then he cut that part out. The guy says that the reason why, to marry more than one woman, is because population-wise, there's a surplus of women. Okay, and Chris asked him, "Yeah, so where'd you get that information from?" He's like, "Oh, I got it from sources, you know." And Chris is like, "Well, I got the UN report right here on census data."
I saw that.
And the dude's like, "No, that's not true."
Yeah, hello.
But here's
number.
Wait, George, you got to mute yourself. Mute George. He's talking on the phone.
Okay, let's bring it on. I'll pay for it here. Okay, I'll pay for it here. Okay, bye. All right, bye.
Yeah, okay, there we go. All right. Yeah, and
Was he ordering a pizza or something?
I don't know.
I don't know. He might be calling that casino that we're not supposed to be gambling in. The part that he mentioned there was, I think he said it's like a ratio of 15 to 1.
Yeah,
women to men on the planet, and I'm scratching my head, and because and this is the thing, because Kenny had his friend that we were talking about, I think before the show, Mr. Gregory, on. They were having like a love fest of some sort, and they were trying to justify having multiple wives. And Mr. Gregory made the comment, well, we know that there are in the world 2 women for every 1 man. So Islam, of course, is the answer for that problem. But the problem is that there isn't for every 1 man. There's 2 women on this planet. So, you know,
well, hold on.
You start dealing with facts and figures, they're not always concise.
It also depends on age. It also depends on age, like fertile age, okay, for both boys and girls, men and women, okay, is like 50-50. But then that does kind of drop off until you're in your 80s. Yeah, go ahead, Kenny, go marry grandma. You know what I mean? Whatever. You know what I'm saying? I mean, seriously.
Women, the average age of women is high, and that's why it's like 50.4 to 49.6.
Right. Exactly.
What it is, and it's because women, on average, outlive men.
Because men are stupid. Yeah.
So guys, there's an important thing. Personally, I thought it was appalling that the Imam said that Islam is the solution for having too many women. I really found that appalling. But there's a report from the crisis. Yeah, there's a report from the crisis group that says, based on their research, listen to this. Based on their research, Islamic terrorism in East Africa is caused by a lack of women. Why? The men with money marry all the young girls. So these young men with a lot of testosterone can't find any women. So they start wars to go and get women.
Oh, exactly.
It's a scholarly research report that was done on this thing that says that the fact that the richer men or establishment were taking all of the young women, the young men were turning to terrorism because of out of frustration.
There's cases of the Mormons or whatnot. The Mormons. Okay, there's certain cult sects that they have where they practice these communal village thing, and they marry more than one wife. So a lot of these young men, I mean, seriously, there's like murders and stuff in these communities. Okay, because the older men are marrying the young girls, and dudes are like, no, you're not marrying my girlfriend. He goes and kills the
I think Chris brought that up in the debate because they're saying, well, Islam is the answer for all the world's problems. Why Islam? And Chris brought up the fact that Mormonism allows multiple marriages, allows polygamy. So he asked him, he goes, well, so you would say that Mormonism is the answer for all the world's problems too? And the guy's like, he couldn't figure out an answer to that one.
Yeah, I do want to comment one thing too on the thing of alcohol, because Muslims always bring this up, okay? And I'm sure we all know, okay, the prohibition against alcohol, okay, was over time. Actually, technically, you could actually still drink just as long as you're able to make it to the mosque prayer without being intoxicated. Some would argue that, okay? But either way, the reason why, actually, Adam, and I'm sure you guys, Adam and Steve, if he's still George, you guys probably know this, but apparently in one of the Sirat literature, I don't know who it was, but supposedly Abu Bakari or whatever came upon his jihadis that were all passed out drunk at the masjid, and he wanted to go out and go raid a caravan or something. No, this is no joke. And he went and complained to Muhammad he couldn't go raid the caravan because all the jihadis were drunk. So that's when the surah was revealed, don't stop drinking alcohol, or don't show up to the mosque drunk. I think that's what it was. But here's an interesting little fact. There is a debate in archaeological circles, okay, or anthropological circles, or whatever, scholarly debate. It's a fun debate, but which came first, beer or bread? Okay? Which came first, beer or bread? Now think about it. This is fundamental because you've got, okay, if you're going through the anthropological thing, okay, you're hunter-gatherers or whatever. Well, yeah, so you might come upon an area where you can pick an abundance of food, but that's going to run out. You still got to keep moving on. So you start growing it, right? You learn how to do that. But wait a second, you now got to store it. How do you store it without getting it fetid, rotten and everything? So, but bottom line is this: every place they find a farm, they find a brewery. Okay, the Egyptians were paid to build the pyramids. Okay, in 2000 BC or whatever, 3000 BC, they were paid in beer. Okay, and then some meat and stuff like that every once in a while. But anyway, bottom line is this: also alcohol during that time. Water, okay, was, well, let's face it, unless you had your own private well, it wasn't pleasant to drink sometimes. And especially with Muhammad, when they're forced to drink the water out of where they dump the menstruation cloths and dead animals and all that refuse and garbage. Yeah, that's not a good water source to drink. But we learned that you add alcohol to water and it serves as a disinfectant. Okay. There is seriously, I'll have to find it again. Okay. It's in a book. What is it? It was one of the first. It came out in 2007, I believe. It is called the Quran. And it's who wrote? No, something about who wrote the Quran. I'll find it. But anyway, so there is there is an envoy, a Chinese envoy to Persia. Okay, and he goes there, and this is before Islam. Okay, and he's in the Persian capital, and he writes back saying how wonderful it is. All the people look happy. Okay, they look, blah 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 blah. There's abundance of everything. And then like 30 years later, okay, after Islam conquered, it's either 30 to 100 years later, after Islam conquered Persia, okay, another letter from the Chinese ambassador saying how the people walk around gaunt, okay, like they are constantly in some kind of intestinal disease. The water is filthy. There is no alcohol to drink. Okay, I mean, seriously, just in this change by removing alcohol, you actually started to have, waterborne illnesses. Okay. I mean, people are starting to die or get really, really sick from the water. So, and pretty much that's kind of the case where everywhere, if you look at the historical evidence, everywhere that Islam goes and they ban alcohol, they're also, you're going to see a spike or an increase in what people report as, well, dysentery and things like that, giardia, whatever. You know what I mean? So I just thought I'd throw that little interesting fact out there.
There is when we start looking at the use of alcohol itself, it's not the use of it that's the problem. The problem is the abuse. And then trying to define what abuse is, that's where everything becomes argumentative. I've lived 4.5 years in Italy, and they literally drink wine for lunch. They drink wine for supper. It's not the use of alcohol. It is they don't have 2 bottles of wine when they're eating. That's abuse. Right. So there's such things as moderation. When we look at what Christ our Lord, the first miracle that he performed was what? Turning water into wine. And not just any type of wine, the best wine that would be served at these weddings. So it isn't just taking, it's just like everything else. They take something that is beautiful and they pervert it in Islam. When you take, for example, women, if you have to cover yourself in a tent and walk around like that because men might lust after you, the problem isn't the women. The problem is the men. So it's just a lack of self-control. Here in the West, I get it. There's some women that, honey, you need to go back home and put something else on. I get that.
Exactly. Some.
But, okay, there's a lot of my students that do that. We have to send them to the office and that's just okay. That's just okay. But there are limits on that. I mean, if you don't walk, okay, I'm not going to get into the dress code thing, but it's not as to the point where you have to make them walk around in a Coleman tent. You shouldn't have to cover up like that because I, as a man, have a problem.
Right. And it doesn't cure the man. He's gonna use that lust somewhere, and it's not covering those women's with a sheet. They're going to try to fulfill that lust. Period.
Well, do you guys know why the burqa, the full burqa was done? And Adam, I think probably he's going to chime in on this definitely.
Before we go to burqa, I just want to clear out the alcohol thing. Alcohol, according to Quran, is a miracle of Allah.
So it's banned. There you go.
No, it's a miracle of Allah.
Oh, well, so our pigs.
Something got fermented, and they claim that it was Allah.
Go read chapter 16, verse number 67. Allah says that it is that you make from the vineyard yourself an intoxicant drink, which has a rizqan hasana, which has a good provision for food. Rizq means something that you get as a provision for eating or trading. Hasana means great. Hasan means awesome, good, very good thing. And still, do you not believe that in the signs of Allah? So Allah proclaims that fermented drink is His miracle. It gives you good rizq, and it is an absolute Allah's sign.
Well, why do they ban it then? Why is it prohibited, strictly prohibited in Islam then?
Already it was told. There is another story that at one time Ali or Abu Bakr or somebody like that, I forgot who, tried to recite the prayer as an imam, and he was so drunk and abused that he was not reciting it correctly, and finally it was banned. So I don't know which tradition you will take it, but
So
these are
it's
the
not
two
in the
tradition
Quran?
which happens. No, this is the tradition. You will see it in the Quran later on, and that is why Muslim says that this verse is abrogated. So that is why the next verse came in 443, which says, when you go near the prayer, do not be drunken. So this is the second verse that comes, that when you go near the prayer, when you offer prayer, do not be drunk. And then the third verse comes much later in the last year of Muhammad, in chapter number 5, verse number 90, which says that all fabricated drinks are najas and the amal of shaitan. And this is the verse that I use, that either Allah is shaitan or Satan is Allah, because if regis is the amal of shaitan, is the work of Satan, then Allah said that it is my sign in 1667. So if it is Allah's sign and it is the work of Satan, then you add 2 plus 2 and you will get Allah is Satan. So chapter number 16, verse number 67 versus chapter number 5, verse number 90. So there you go, buddies.
Oh man, you're asking Muslims to do math. They're not very good at that. You know, I found they think 1 + 1 + 1 = 1 for some reason. I don't know why, but it really annoys me. But
That's actually true. That is true. It was permitted and then it was negated. Alcohol was allowed. Muslims could drink, and then they were told that they couldn't drink because it impaired judgment. That it basically made it so you couldn't actually focus on salat and stuff like that.
Okay, Adam.
That would
Adam,
actually make sense that Muhammad was drunk when he kind of wrote the Quran.
Right.
Well, he didn't write
believe.
it.
That I would believe. Well, whoever, I would believe, I would believe that. Yeah.
Hey, Adam, I got a question.
Yes, dear brother.
Okay, so in that verse 1667, I'm looking at the Corpus Quran is saying that word, which Abdullah Yusuf Ali translates as "get out a wholesome drink and food," is actually sakaran, and it means an intoxicant.
Yes, sir. That's the problem. Sakar is an intoxicant drink, and nobody can deny that. So that's the problem.
Well, that's similar. That's similar to the Hebrew seker, which means intoxicant. So,
yes, sir.
So they're translating intoxicant as wholesome in your English versions to make it seem like Allah, this sign of Allah or miracle of Allah wasn't an intoxicant.
That's the problem, because like you can only get the palm and the vineyard to do fermentation. It's sakar. And there are so many hadiths that they have removed from sunnah.com where Muhammad is drinking alcohol for 3 days and 3 nights consecutively, and they remove it. They first changed the translations and then they fully removed it from sunnah.com. But this is a reality. There are a lot of Arabic scholarly discussion in satellite TV where they are talking about that, and they said, like, what should we do about this? What should we do about this? And
now this is good though. I'm glad you pointed this out.
What's the verse again? The one that says that
1667.
1667.
Abdullah Yusuf Ali says, and from the fruit of the date palm and the vine you get out wholesome drink and food. Behold, in this also is a sign for those who are wise. Well, the word wholesome in Arabic is actually sakaran. Am I saying that right? Sakar, which means intoxicant. So to smooth it over, or to deceive the Western people, they said that it doesn't mean intoxicant. It means wholesome.
Forget Westerns. They're idiots. Read the At-Tibri, and Ibn Kathir, and you will see how they translate this and give the meaning of this. So sakar is not the sucker in English, but sakran or sakar in Arabic simply means the intoxicant drink, the fermented drink. So whenever you ferment, it becomes intoxicant.
Actually, if you go to Corpus Quran right now, I'm just checking it out right now. Yeah, it says intoxicant. Sakran. Yeah,
Man, you're late, bruh. You're late. I just said that.
Oh, did you? Oh, I'm sorry.
Reading is fundamental.
Yes, I was finding it. Sorry, but okay.
So it was a second witness. We have agreement here. He was a second witness.
Anyway,
I'm gonna put this up on
Adam.
the screen.
Adam is a wealth of knowledge, right?
Let me.
Yes, he sure
put
is.
this on the screen.
Buddies, you are DL. I've learned a lot from you, man. You go into scriptures.
Hey, you didn't answer my call yesterday, man. I'm disappointed.
I am sorry, I didn't even receive it. You probably called me on my account, which is dead. You know, I died in Facebook.
No, I thought that was John Isaac. I tried to hit him up yesterday too, and
yeah, John's dead too. They're both in that Skype group that were in DL.
Yeah, we were killed on Facebook by the Muslim jihadis. So you can't call
Facebook
us
is
on
martyring.
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook is martyring Christians on. Yeah. But dude, seriously, get a VPN, post in
Stop, Chris, stop. Go up. You left it. Go up. Chris, stop. Up.
10
up.
seconds.
Stop.
There, you had it.
Dude, you go too fast.
It'll be the seventh. It'll be
I see the great
seventh word.
You take
the seventh word.
Yeah.
Stop.
There you go. The seventh word.
Intoxicant.
Intoxicant.
Yeah. Okay.
Man, they just lied in the English translation.
Yeah, let's go back. Go back.
You gave me something to work with, bruh.
You're more than welcome, buddy.
Well, Ali or Kahiri
Intoxications
International
are a
says
miracle of Allah.
you take intoxicant and good provision. It says it right here in this translation. It's intoxicant.
Well, that's the Sahih. That's the Saudi Arabian one. That's the Salafi one.
No strong drink is Pictol. Wholesome drink. Look at that. That's a lie. That's a lie there.
Hey, but intoxicants are wholesome. That's what it basically said.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at
while you guys were talking, I did some looking into what is allowed according to the Sharia, and I ran into something very disturbing, and you guys are gonna have to think of something else to move on to, because I don't want to end the show on this note, because it says right here on page 98, the urine of a baby boy. I'm serious.
Oh.
The urine of a baby boy who has fed on nothing but human milk can be purified from clothes by sprinkling enough water on the spot to wet most of it, though it need not flow over it. Hold on. The urine of a baby girl must be washed away as an adult is. Who comes up with this crap? Is there like a study where they go, okay, well, let's pour a little bit of water on this diaper and put this? It's
a spirit of control. It's demonic.
It's crazy, is what it is.
Trying to control people. I mean, they're insulting their intelligence, getting them to act like robots.
Well, they have a whole chapter dedicated to how to use the bathroom. I don't even want to read that. I don't think I want to read that.
Control. It's a spirit of control.
I need to read that, man. Maybe I've had that wrong for decades.
Muslims are obsessed with
my stool habits.
Oh, we don't. Okay, everybody, come on.
And see, it's a nasty spirit. They're always in your pants. You know, it's just nasty. Or they're in a woman's bra. You know,
There's
it's
a
like
lot of truth to that. You reckon there's a truth. They were using a little. I'm saluting my people in the chat who've been putting some German language in there. Evidently, RN and Dragon both speak German. I think Dragon said that was her second language, or his second language, and English is his third. Wow. Okay, folks, we're going to bow on out. DL, stay, because I wanted to talk to you after we're done here. Everybody that came today, thank you so much for coming. And today has been kind of a fun day. we get to laugh at a lot of these things because we were looking at this debate. That was that was a joke in of itself. But we all know.
Did I speak enough today?
Yeah.
You never speak enough. We need to have a DL
exactly,
show.
Yeah. So DL
That's
needs
awesome.
to. Well, he's come to the show sometimes where he doesn't say a word, and then I tell him he's pleading the fifth. He goes, "Well, I didn't have anything important to say."
Me and DL
like
are-
everything that we say here is important, right? Yeah. That's not
I guess that's a
School
compliment
habits.
for everybody else.
Hey, can we put that video of the debate in the chat? I'd like to see that whole debate. Is that possible?
If you go to Kenny's channel, well, I think maybe I got it. I got it yesterday. Chris, Eric, this is the okay. I'll have to find. Doggone it.
If you just go to Kenny's channel, it's right there. You'll see it. Just go to search Kenny.
Just
Kenny
go to
Beaumont,
consider
you'll
this.
find it. Yeah.
Yeah, consider this, and you'll see it there. It's there. I can't. I have to dig too far with it. I had a new friend today, Rob K. We were going back and forth on Instant Messenger. So thank you for coming, Rob. Dominique, who's been here. RN Piers Taylor. This is the first time I've seen this fella here. Who then I'm gonna miss people. And then those who were mods, Dragon and RN, thank you for doing that. And there were other people that came that I'm not going to mention, and I'm sorry for that. But everybody that came here in chat or here in the studio, thank you for your contributions today. It's always fun to do this, and I look forward to this every Sunday. Okay, God bless everybody, and we will see you next Sunday here on the Cross and the Crescent discussion group. God bless.
Bye.
Okay, let me shut off my Blog Talk Radio.
Thank you for using Blog
As
Talk
we went over.
Radio. Goodbye.
Because when we go over on Blog Talk Radio, they cut it off at the 2-hour mark.
Right.
Okay, yeah. What I wanted to tell you about that Kenny thing, DL, was that after last fall.
Stop! You're still live on YouTube.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.